WrestleMania to many is the be-all end-all, the pinnacle of professional wrestling. To wrestle at WrestleMania means you participated in the biggest show in all of wrestling. To wrestle in the main event, though, is a whole different story. Roman Reigns has done it 6 times, which is almost the record of Hulk Hogan. He's been positioned as the top guy since 2015, and at times, it doesn't look like it's stopping. His role in the first 4 main events was that of a conquering hero who would never give up. This was, of course, extremely similar to John Cena. The fans didn't want none. They've seen enough with John Cena, and we're about to do that with Roman Reigns. Sometime later, the WWE obliged and allowed for Roman Reigns to take the role of a heel. This allowed him to show what he's truly made of, and to say it was a success would be a massive understatement. And because of that, WWE finally got what they wanted out of Roman Reigns, to be in the highest position as the main character, as the champion. Ever since Roman's run began, the big question of who should beat him popped up. And this was in the summer of 2020, and the list of potential candidates started with the likes of Drew McIntyre and Edge. Heading into WrestleMania, it seemed like Edge would win it. Why? His story made the most sense. Then Daniel Bryan popped up, and surprisingly for me, he stacked both men. Then Cesaro came up, small chance, just a little bit, but it was wrapped up like that. And the craziest thing about this title reign is the prediction of who would dethrone Roman. At one point, personally, I had Big E and Finn Balor. And lo and behold, Roman beats them both. Seth Rollins and even Brock Lesnar follow up, and at this point, Roman Reigns was 99 overall, and I had no idea who could do it. It's also important to mention that he had 2 titles at this point. While Roman Reigns celebrated his triumph as the double champion, the prodigal son returned. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, after 6 years, had returned. Here was my personal answer to the question, which came as a huge surprise because he was all elite. And in 2 months, he went from TNT champion to the potential guy to beat Roman Reigns for WWE's most coveted gold. Which leads us to today. Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble to receive the title opportunity to face Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania. And the result seems likely for Rhodes to win it all, and this was what I believed up until last Friday. It came down to feeling. And personally, it makes the match at WrestleMania a bit more interesting. Which leads me to the question, the whole reason why I decided to make this video at 3 a.m. What if Roman Reigns retained the championship? What would be the ramifications of such a result? Well, there's a lot to come out of this one. Now, Roman continuing his reign beyond WrestleMania would allow for the Bloodline story to continue. Fans love it because it's slow paced and well thought out. Just the Sami Zayn arc, it's been going on for 9 months and it slowly brought more excitement to the story that had somewhat gotten stagnant. What it had to do with the Usos' interference and Roman retaining by the skin of his teeth, and that stuff gets redundant after a while. And people wanted the story to end around that time. But we got something entirely better out of it. It also seems that there's a little left in the tank for WWE to drag this story with Roman as a champion and possibly holding the title for 1,000 days. Because having him lose the title just short of 1,000 days somewhat sounds wrong. That's the reasons why you'd look for a potential Roman Reigns victory at WrestleMania. As for the bad, well, there's a lot. And this is not me just saying, oh, it's going to be bad if Cody loses. Like, I like Cody Rhodes. I'd be cool with him being the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns. But if you place any of the previous guys in this position where they look like the last option, because Roman Reigns beat everybody. If you place the likes of Edge, Drew, Sami Zayn, if they were the ones that faced Roman at WrestleMania here for the first time, I'd want them to win it. So basically, I just want to see Roman lose the title here. Because if he doesn't, a lot's going to be different and not in a good way. Now, Roman's aura is big time. And one of the reasons why he feels like a true superstar is because he doesn't appear often. On the other side, I don't like how the shows are booked when he isn't around. It feels like they book a main event that's not really a main event. And a lot of the times this happens, I zone out because this match is basically disguised as a main event match. It's like this disguise. We know it's SpongeBob. And in this case, we know it's a mid-card match. Roman retaining means this trend continues, and it's really dire for Raw, who sometimes has to rely on main events that don't feel like main events. It also means the champion won't be around for the B pay-per-views. Like, I sometimes enjoy the vibe Roman brings with the big-time main events, but I personally miss seeing the champion featuring on every show. It's not as bad as 2014 Brock Lesnar, but it's still noticeable. In addition, it's probably going to get boring. Some of you think it's boring now, because the only possible times he could lose are WrestleMania and SummerSlam. And if he doesn't lose on those shows, you gotta wait until next year, because there's no way he's gonna lose this title on SmackDown or at Survivor Series. Roman Reigns wins, you best be certain it's gonna be some of the same stuff going on recently. The only difference would be possibly Jey Uso's storyline, but personally speaking, it gets to a point where you're bored seeing somebody in the same exact position. It doesn't matter what they do. If they're the champion, they're doing the same thing, it's not good. Another thing to mention is that there's not many credible challenges on the roster left. I mean, he's not going to go out there and face Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin will beat him, right? But there's Randy Orton, the biggest wrestler Roman hasn't faced during this run. He kind of poses a threat, but not as much as the other challengers. Cody Rhodes could possibly use his loss at WrestleMania as fuel to rebuild himself and face the Tribal Chief at SummerSlam. It allows for Rhodes to show vulnerability and more depth to his story, but it's very risky and a lot could happen. Maybe somebody else gets hotter. Maybe he loses his momentum by the loss. We don't know. Seth Rollins is always a candidate regardless of his previous match with Roman. He started this fire within Roman Reigns by betraying him, and he could end it with a curb stomp. And then there's one more man, Jey Uso. I thought about the possibility of Roman keeping the belt after WrestleMania. Jey, for storyline purposes, would probably be the best choice. Everything else leans towards Cody, the tickets, the ratings, but Uso beating Roman after this entire story would be going full circle and provide the most satisfying ending to the storyline. The guy beside Roman Reigns who was often belittled, abused in the veil of family, when in reality it was all for Roman's personal gain. It really does get tighter for the possibilities for the bloodline and Roman Reigns if he keeps the title after WrestleMania. You know, there's not really much going on if he keeps the title. The shows sometimes feel lacking on top, and it's been that way since he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. It prevents a lot of fresh stories. Rollins could have had a title reign. Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, and Finn Balor could have used storylines with the belt. Even Edge, who's nearing retirement. There's more stories to tell with the titles. And on the other side, they have a big story with Roman losing his mind without the title. We'd get to see that side he shows shades of, and you could have him assault Heyman, the Usos, even Rikishi. And I've been wanting to see insecure Roman Reigns unlocked for a while because there's only glimpses recently. And it's looking like it's going to happen. But the only question is, when? Alright, I just wanted to make this video. I was bored yesterday. I wanted to upload something. I want to focus on other stuff, but I thought to myself, hey, what if Roman wins? So that's why I made this video. Me personally, I want to see him lose because it's for the best interest of the rest of the roster. And with Roman keeping the title, it just keeps going on and on. He's probably not going to lose it for a long time, and it gets less likely he's going to lose it anytime soon if he wins after WrestleMania. So yeah. Alright, that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the Superman punch on the like button and perhaps the spear on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.